Good afternoon, a warm welcome everyone to the launch of what we're really excited about, which is the GRMI Alum Talk Series. And here's something I've been really excited about, getting to talk to a host of our alums who are doing exceptionally well in life and honestly didn't realize what a terrific feeling it is to be able to get back with them. So Shubham, thank you for making time. Welcome to the session. And let's just start it off with a very, very simple question. Tell us, what do you do at IPV?
Okay. First of all, thanks, sir, for having me here. And yeah, it's really a pleasure to be joining you on this series. Uh, I think at IPV, my role has evolved over a period of time, just like it happens with everyone else. So that's what happened to me as well. So when I joined, I joined in as an analyst, where my primary responsibilities were to evaluate various startups which were coming on the platform. But alongside that, just like with everyone else, every analyst needs to have some operational work as well, right? So a part of my time was going in operationals, and I was managing their call for money process, which is basically the entire investment documentation, etc. So everything which happens after the commitment call, I was handling that process. So I was overseeing that process, and then eventually I then further moved to manage their product management practice internally, basically everything related to the app which the investors use, and the CRM then. So it started from there, and I was doing deals on the side, of course. And then IPV eventually started their own VC fund called Physis Capital. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of that founding team. So I've been a part of that team from day one. Started with just creating their marketing deck, eventually then was involved in fundraising. So did that, and now my time essentially goes in fundraising, creating a healthy pipeline of startups which we can fund. And then, of course, I continue to lead due diligences for the various startups which keep on coming. And yeah, I think one of the most important and overlooked aspects in a VC, the post investment monitoring and support. So yeah, that's where primarily where my time goes, and this is what I'm doing currently.
Terrific. Sounds like a real exciting sort of career. And that kind of tees it up well for me to ask you. You did have a stint at consulting right out of GRMI.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name the firm,
Yeah.
because I'm sure it came with good and bad experiences. So let's keep the firm anonymous. But why don't we sort of compare and contrast a little bit of life in consulting to life that you have today at IPV? Both equally sought after, both equally glamorous in their own ways.
Yeah.
But just for the benefit of viewers, uh, talk to me a little bit about how have you seen it differently.
Yeah, um, I think first of all, yeah, the overall routine, the overall tasks, and the field are vastly different. And I mean, there is nothing like everyone will end up liking either each of them, right? So everyone will eventually like one of them or maybe both of them. In my case, I think when I joined my consulting role, that was in the peak of COVID. So yeah, it was even hard. A consultant role which is slightly senior, and then going on doing audits for listed companies. I mean, it was overwhelming. But at the same time, I still feel that during those 7-8 months, it was like a big capsule of learnings, right? The learning curve which was there at that time, I think it was so steep, but at the same time I still carry those learnings, right? So uh, eventually, as life played out, I started with early stage investing with IP, but now I'm doing growth stage investing. And when you are doing growth stage investing, you eventually a lot of things and a lot of concepts from audit come into picture, right? So So all of those learnings now are coming into place. I'm utilizing those. So yeah, I'm even thankful for that experience, right? So I dreaded the time when I had to go on and do GST and TDS audits, and just by creating that checklist, I had to read about GST, TDS, everything from scratch, create that checklist and do that audit. So it was daunting at that time, but it made things fairly easier for me now when I get to hear or evaluate those concepts in various startups as well. So even that experience was really good. But overall, I think I was fortunate enough to intern during my time at GRMI with IPV. Never did I know that it will materialize so beautifully into a full-time role. So the good part is that I had that understanding about the role at IPV. I got a PPO from IPV, so I had that option, but I still wanted to kind of feel what it feels like, getting into a pure audit role. So yeah, I think it was a good 7-8 months full of learnings, but then eventually I really liked my time and my role, evaluating startups and IPV, so I ended up joining there. But I still, as I said, I still carry my learnings from there.
Fantastic. I think two things strike me. One, this whole thing of you always learn something or the other. You
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of don't know when in life that kind of comes in handy. And I think that whole sort of characteristic about you is something which we always believe that, was, special. And I think that a lot of the success that you have today is because of that approach or that attitude that you've always had, which was keep learning.
Yeah.
You like some of it, you don't like some of it at that point in time, but somewhere
Perfect.
down the line, sort of learning time never goes a waste. And the way you said that you had a PPO, you still wanted to experience the charm of that consulting world is again so universal. Everyone that one talks to, current students, past students, when I was in my own consulting avatar, everyone wanted that little brand on them saying, okay, there must be something about that place. And how easily that sheen wears off
Yeah.
once you're actually in there is also quite incredible. So let's get to a little beyond all of this and say, everyone comes to an institute, school, you learn. Talk to us a little bit about what beyond classroom learning did you take away from GRMI?
Yeah, I think it was a great experience even within the class. So I'll maybe start from there, because that's a very important aspect of our time at GRMI, right? I mean, the kind of um, the profs which we have, the teachers which we have, industry experts with like 10, 15 years plus of experience, industry leaders who come and teach us. I think that experience in itself is really fulfilling. It's really great, to be honest. And so while I think during the classroom it was full of learnings, even outside the classroom, on the fifth floor, there were a lot of unstructured, informal discussions, often revolving around both the curriculum and outside of it. I think the kind of diversity which we had during my batch, people coming in from different educational backgrounds, different work profiles, different age groups as well. I think those kind of that kind of diversity really encourages you to learn. So I came in from a background of, say, industrial engineering, MBA, right? So the field of accounting, finance was not something I was really comfortable with at that point of time. So luckily for me, there were a lot of people who kind of supported me, who taught me things. So that kind of made a very solid background even in accounting, which again I now carry forward in my due diligence, which I do, right? So it started from there, and I was taught by my fellow peers there. So that was beyond the classroom, literally. And at the same time, I was able to kind of add value to a few people, because coming in from my operations management background, um, and understanding of processes, so I was able to help, my peers and my fellow friends, understanding the process is slightly better. So I think it was a good synergy which we were able to maintain beyond the classroom as well. And yeah, of course, I mean, the table tennis matches were really fierce and competitive. The parties were great. The I think the parties were definitely something we all used to look forward to. I still look forward to, because the entire alumni base, whosoever is in the city, is being called there, and you really get to kind of meet them, socialize with them, and it opens up all sorts of possibilities of synergy sometime down the line. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good life even beyond the classroom as well.
Terrific. I think that's something that we always wanted the institute to be. So good to hear that from you. I'm actually very excited about the other initiative that we've started, and you are a part of it, which is where we are saying, let the alums going forward be part of the student selection process, right?
Yeah.
Because what got you here, what you had, what you possibly lacked, what did you pick up, and then how you've built your life out. So we are super excited about that initiative where our own alums are going to become part of the selection process. Talk to the viewers a little bit about it in terms of how excited are you? How do you think it actually helps the institute, your perspective of it, and also what does it mean for you?
Yeah, I think it's really good to be a part of the interviewing panel. I think it's always good to give back to the institute. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be great to connect with fellow aspirants who want to enter the field of risk management. Would be good to kind of guide them into or and initiate them into this new part of their career and education. Also, I think would be good to kind of help out GRMI in finding out the best of the future alumni as well. I mean, people who actually can add value to the alumni base, and take the word forward for risk management and GRMI. So yeah, really excited to be a part of that panel. And I think every one of us, whomsoever I talk to, always want to give back. Whether in terms of taking sessions in the classroom, sharing our learnings from our day-to-day jobs which we do. And I think this is just another part of that. So really excited to be a part of that panel.
Terrific. One of the things which I keep talking to students in campus, outside forums, is this obsession that our country's always had with CA, MBA. And if you aren't either of these two, then I don't think you have a real entitlement to life and to be successful in life. I think it's a bit of an India phenomenon. It's not a global phenomenon, but it is in India. Now you spend a fair bit of time out there in the professional world, consulting and in a place as sort of elite as IPV. You are sure to be having a bunch of peers around you who are a mix of those qualifications. Give a very honest view on how do you see yourself, match up to them, beat them hands down, and be candid about it, because I think it's valuable for viewers to understand what this qualification sort of means to our alum who are really doing exceptionally well like you.
I think so. So I was a part of the integrated industrial engineering MBA course, right? So I think the concepts of management, the at least the hard skills, whatever, I mean, howsoever you define those in MBA, if at all those are even available, the hard skills I think were soon forgotten once you kind of get into the workforce. But you still retain, I think, the overall concepts of management. I think those are something you still carry in your job, the decisions you take, the way you talk to people, the way you overall, you analyze the situations which life throws at you, the work throws at you. So I think, yeah, I did retain those basic concepts of management, but at the same time, I think where GRMI really helped was having that framework of evaluation, right? And I at least would want to consider as a hard skill to have. So I think the entire course gave a very good framework of evaluating processes, right? And it does not matter which industry, what process, right? In the classroom, we were taught majority of the industries. You call it banking, manufacturing, logistics, hospitality, airlines. So all of the industries were largely covered, but what in turn it prepared us for was that no matter what you do, no matter what career you end up choosing, no matter what kind of job you end up doing, you will still retain that framework of evaluating processes and finding possible risks, in those tasks and in those processes, right? So ultimately, I mean, that can be utilized either, if you're doing a consulting job like an internal audit, it can be utilized. A lot of my colleagues went on to start their own thing as well, so I think you can utilize it there as well. I am able to utilize it to analyze startups, right? So I think that framework, all those learnings really helped. um, while a typical person would be able to analyze the startup in a pretty vanilla way, I think I'm able to go one step deeper, evaluate them on a uh, process level. I am able to understand their KPIs really well, what really matters to be measured at a early stage, when the startup is approaching us. I think all those things now have started to come up really naturally to me. So yeah, I think that has really helped. And yeah, I think overall, I would still say that I was at the right place at the right time. So not only getting into IPV was kind of serendipity, and then within IPV as well, to be selected to be a part of FISIS Capital. I think that in turn was another major achievement. But I was just lucky to be in a good team, and having been considered for that role. So yeah, I think God's been kind. Have been doing good work there, and we'll
Great.
try to keep it up. Yeah.
As I would actually pick it up literally from there. You were at a certain stage of your career when you uh, spoke to us for the first time about GRMI. Uh, and obviously, it's sort of the tracks changed a lot since then, to consulting to IPV. So, talk us a little bit of how happy are you with this change that you did? Uh, how bold was the decision? And how do you feel today in terms of how it's shaped up from where you from compared itself to if you had stayed the earlier track? So just to help students think about how sometimes you're going to have that belief in saying, I'll try something, and if I try really hard, I can control my destiny to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, uh, so I think most of us kind of spend the initial years of their career just to find out and identify what they want to do in life, right? So, and many of the viewers would be kind of would be in that stage today, right? So I was there in that stage like around 5 years back. So um, I was clueless what I wanted to do. So I was just kind of exploring the field of marketing. So I did that for around 3 years, but then after giving it that much amount of time, I was still not satisfied. I still felt that I can do something else. My personality was slightly different than you would ideally want someone in the field of marketing to have. I was much more, you know, process oriented, SOP oriented. So I think at that time when I was evaluating the various courses and the various trajectories my life would have taken, I think risk management was one thing which really stood out. Because it fairly aligned to my past experience of industrial engineering and then operations management, so it was fairly aligned to that perspective. And then at the same time, upon going into the course curriculum after talking to the oncoming students and the faculty as well before joining, I think that really helped in firming up that decision. And I think, yeah, I think the course curriculum was really good. The in classroom teachings, outside the classroom teachings, and the interactions were really good. And yeah, I think that has, so I didn't know that at that time that I'll end up in VC, right? Of course I never expected that just happened. But at least I mean, still confident that if nothing, so I'll still end up, being in a consulting role. It's still a very good role. It definitely adds a lot of value to your resume as well. So I was fairly confident with that. But then, I mean, I somehow got an added bonus to that with this experience. So yeah, it's been great. Life has turned out to be pretty good, and at least, I mean, now I am satisfied, and now I at least at this moment, I like to believe that this is something I would want to pursue long term. So at least that's a major positive for me personally.
Terrific. Great to hear someone, happy with where you are, and I'm looking forward to longer stint there. I'm going to now take you a little bit back in time. Talking about, I know you did speak about classroom, outside classroom, but if someone said, Shubham, go back in time and sort of try and remember your days at GRMI, talk to us about some of those memories that you sort of hold dear, cherish, and sort of would love to sort of reminisce when you have a time.
I think one of the things which stood out was um, how the teachers always considered the students to be at the same level as them. So it was never coming. The discussion never happened from from a leader to a student. It was always on the same level, right? So I think we were always given that respect to come out with our own analysis, to share our own experiences, to share our own thoughts and ideas, during the classroom. I think that amount of freedom to have that easy, free flowing discussion is something which I really remember. And um, a lot of the learnings happened through that discussion, right? And I mean, the students never held back, the teachers never held back. So at times it was really competitive as well. So yeah, I think a lot of learnings happened through there. Apart from that, I think outside the classroom, memories will always remain, around friends. I was fortunate enough to make a lot of good friends during my time at GRMI. Uh, we are still friends. We still meet. When it's tough to meet your friends from school or college, but I really appreciate that I'm still able to meet my fellow classmates and friends from GRMI. So a lot of good memories with them. And I think uh, the overall informal catch up culture, at JRMI, where the faculties are also part of those informal meetings. I think it really helps in connecting on a personal level with them. So ultimately they are industry leaders. Will still get to work with them sometime down the line. So it's very good to initiate ourselves into that network right at that moment, not just with the fellow alumni, but also with the teachers as well. So yeah, I think it was great.
Terrific. So as we sort of wind up this discussion, your message to prospective future students of how to think about making career and education choices.
I think at least I'll talk about what I did. I don't think so. I can recommend anything to anyone. So what I at least did was that I tried to understand my personality, and understand what are my inherent motivations in life. What kind of work do I want to do? What, and rather, I mean, most of the times in life you would know what kind of work you don't want to do first before you would get to know what you want to do, right? So it's always um, a checklist where you are just crossing things off, that okay, I don't want to do this, don't want to do this, okay, this is okay, and so on. So I think my suggestion would be to look deeper into yourself, to analyze your past experiences, your personality, um, look and then try to define or search for what you want to do eventually, right? And uh, I mean, if you really want to get into understanding businesses at a core level, then I think GRMI and the risk management course is a really good place to start. It prepares you well for a job in consulting. It prepares you well uh, to start your own business as well, right? So I think it's a fairly balanced course in that perspective. So yeah, it does not even tie you to a particular career or a job profile as well. But I would still suggest that, I mean, do your own checks, look at different options which are available. Most importantly, talk to the people who have already done that or are going through that. So that will really help you in forming up your decision in this. And yes, I mean, uh, leave everything else to destiny, and just work hard and good things will follow. I think that's what I've always believed in.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Shubham. It was an absolute delight chatting with you. I know we catch up informally on and off, but this kind of a chat where one gets to really get the views of our alum is always exciting. And all the very best as you continue to be alum that we take pride in. I wish you all the very best, and obviously we'll stay in touch.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Shubham.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you. Bye bye.